Hello, and welcome to the SolidCAM introductory series of training videos. This topic today is on iMachining, specifically iMachining in 2D. iMachining toolpaths is our patented roughing strategy that maintains the tool engagement into the cut rather than a step over. While maintaining the tool engagement angle in the cut, we are automatically setting our feeds, speeds, depths of cut, and radial engagement angle all based off of the machine that it's cutting on and the material that we're cutting. Let's jump in and show some parameters. We're going to activate the iMachining toolpath from my toolpath form, in this case iMachining in 2D. Understand that there are different modes of operations you can run this toolpath within. It can be treated as a roughing toolpath, a multiple tool roughing toolpath, rough and finish in the same operation, a additional roughing operation to reference a previously roughed part, or as a finished toolpath. In this case, we're going to pick iRough. The mode of selecting your geometry is exactly the same as what it was with pocketing. You can pick your features by feature recognition or by physical chains. Understand that there is no right or wrong here. A lot of this comes down to your personal preference as well as the part that you're machining and what the part gives you to work with. We'll show a few different options. I'm going to start by using manual chains. I'm going to select the geometry of the profile that I want to machine. With iMachining toolpaths, you're typically going to start at the deeper portions of your pocket, so I want to focus on this through cut through the center of the part. I'm simply going to grab the edge that I want to machine and collect that into my toolpath. From here, I will select a tool. In this case, we'll grab a 1/2 inch end mill. And then set my levels. Because we are using manual chains, it's not looking at the stock in any condition at this point. The upper level, it projected to the 0 plane. My depth cut will be this depth cut right here. And from here, I'll hit save and calculate. The iMachining toolpath will look a lot different than a traditional roughing toolpath for pocketing. A normal offset pocket toolpath will take the part shape, offset it to a natural collapse point, and then work its way out from there, introducing sharp corners and direction changes. You'll never see that with an iMachining toolpath. By maintaining a consistent tool engagement angle throughout the cut from start to finish, we then know the maximum threshold and we can maximize our spindle speeds, our feed rates, because we're never overloading the tool in the corner. What you're seeing here specifically is this helical plunge motion into the part. It's converting the plunge shape to the part shape from pass to pass to path in what's known as a morphing spiral. And the morphing spiral routine is, again, it's converting the plunge shape to the part shape until it becomes tangent to the wall. Once the toolpath becomes tangent to the wall, it will go through a series of progressions, reducing that corner, never exceeding that tool's engagement angle, maintaining that throughout the cut. Again, allowing us to maximize our spindle speeds and our feed rates because we're not going to overload the tool in the corner. Let's take this process out to some other features on this part. A good methodology is using what's called a save and copy. A save and copy makes an exactly redundant toolpath for you to apply in a different area. From here, I'm going to go to my geometry and I want to machine the pocket now starting at this threshold out to the part wall. I might use feature recognition by chains. When I select feature recognition by chains, it'll allow me to come out and pick the new geometry profile that I want to machine. I'll collect that into my toolpath and it will give me a preview. From here, we'll pick the same tool. I'll set my levels accordingly and hit save and calculate. Closing the form for the toolpath, an interesting observation should be noted. Notice the step over on the first operation. Compare it to the second operation step over. On the subsequent toolpath, the difference here is the depth. That was a direct save and copy. The parameters, however, adjusted because we're not taking as much Z depth, so it adjusted the step over in transition. With this toolpath highlighted, if I go into my simulation, in this case solid verification, it will update the stock to the stock in the current state. If we look at this operation from the top down, I'll slow this down and hit play, you're going to see it just picks up from where that operation left off. The toolpath is never exceeding that maximum tool engagement angle throughout the cut. iMachining strategies are phenomenal at getting material out of parts. I'll pause the simulation. I can take the same theme. I can do a save and copy again to continue this pocket out. Notice with the save and copy, the stock has updated because it thinks we're cutting the same profile in this case. So it says, hey, there's still some stock on the wall, but in reality, I want to cut a different feature. Turn those other toolpaths off the screen, and I might use face recognition for this feature here and simply select that face. By selecting that face, when I tab off of that, you're going to see the preview of the stock update automatically. From here, I can set any additional parameters. In this case here, I really don't need to change anything, and I can recalculate the toolpath. Something different on this toolpath compared to the first one is this little channel, or what we call an island mote. This part has an island sticking up in the middle of it, this boss feature. iMachining toolpath wants to get into this morphing spiral as quickly as possible for the highest volume removal rates. It knows it can't just drive the tool around that boss, so it's opening up a channel to get through that. More difficult to machine materials, steels, Inconels, titaniums, you may want to leave that turned on. Cutting softer materials like aluminum, you may be able to turn it off. So in this case here, I'll go ahead and turn my island mode off and recalculate. Again, this is going to be determined by you and your preferences and how you like to machine it. It gives me a different mannerism for cutting that pocket while still maintaining the iMachining theme, constant tool engagement angle. iMachining toolpaths can be used also as finishing operations. If I come in to pick an iMachining toolpath, I can go in and select iFinish. From here, I'm going to pick a smaller tool. I will grab this 1/8 inch end mill. A pretty significant jump in size from a 1/2 inch to an 1/8 inch end mill, but it's more to prove the point. I'm going to collect the geometry profile from that very first operation that we picked, that same profile. And I'm going to set my levels. My upper level is going to be the top. My bottom level is going to be the bottom of the part. Because I have an iFinish toolpath, I'm going to reference the previous operation. So the very first iRoughing operation that we used. We roughed it with a 1/2 inch. I'm coming down to an 1/8 inch end mill, and I'll hit save and calculate. The strategy that's being deployed is still maintaining the iMachining strategy of tool engagement angle, never allowing the tool, it's not just driving the tool into the corner. It's working that corner down through a series of progressions. If this is truly a finish pass, I'm going to take this right to size and hit save and calculate. Again, iMachining typically used for bulk material removal. However, it can be deployed in a lot of different ways. Thank you for watching this video. I hope to see you again in future videos.